Definitely my friends around me who suffer, a couple of my friends suffer from depression and anxiety.
When it comes to like anxiety and stuff like that, yes, kind of.
I must say that I think, well, in the past year, I suffered from anxiety.
I have some friends that have depression.
One of my family members here, they do have slight anxiety, but we've learned to deal with it.
I'd really say that I'm not, but I've got a few family members that are affected by anxiety and depression.
My name is Kentse Radebe, and I'm currently the Executive Director of the SACAP Foundation. The SACAP Foundation's mission is to make mental health services affordable, but also to raise awareness about mental health broadly. One of the projects that we started running this year was the Counselling Hub based in Woodstock, where we provide affordable counselling services to individuals for 50 Rand. So I think it's really important that to understand that when we talk about mental health, we're really talking on a spectrum. And I think for a lot of us, when we think mental health, we have the stereotypical idea that, oh, we're thinking about asylum or a psychiatric facility, but mental health is really something that should be a concern to all of us. And I think a really good place to start that doesn't pathologize mental health is to actually look at some of the definitions that we currently have. And I think the best one is the World Health Organization definition, which actually really places emphasis on individuals having the capacity to develop the skills to cope with everyday life stresses. Because I think what that does is that it really brings down our understanding of mental health to something that's really simplistic. So what's happening in my life right now? Am I stressed out at school? Am I stressed out at work? Am I coping? And then it really removes that negative perspective that we have on mental health, that you have to be chronically depressed or you have to be non-functioning to be able to think about yourself as having or not having healthy mental health. I think what's really interesting is that in South Africa we place such a big emphasis on the final year, and that really ramps up the pressure for matriculants, because the whole year they've been hearing about how important this year is. Their parents are saying to them, study all the time, so this really increases the pressures that they're experiencing. So I think for a matriculant who's going into exams right now, this is for them a big deal. So their stress, their anxiety, their fears, all of the things that give them, I think, anxiety are actually ramped up. And I think that they're probably very nervous as well. If you're not having dreams about pitching up late for your exam, you're probably thinking about, am I going to get accepted into the university of my choice? Do I have funding? So they're feeling all sorts of things right now. So I think that there is a lot of stress, there is a lot of pressure, but I think at the same time, it's then how do I actually prepare and moderate my behavior to be able to deal with what's ahead. For me, one of the simplest things is routine. And I know sometimes we underestimate that because we think, oh, it's finals, I need to do things that are completely different to how I was operating in the past. But actually it can be really good just for your own mental health to keep doing the things that you used to do. So the chores around the house, if you used to exercise every single day or a few days out of the week, if you used to go to church on a Sunday, keep doing those things, because it actually tells your body that what's happening around me is completely normal. There's nothing that's really different. If now you're pulling all-nighters, you're drinking, I don't know, caffeinated drinks that you never used to do, then your body now has to calibrate itself to this new context, which I think makes it a bit more difficult. But then I also think just checking in with yourself. How are you feeling? Are you stressed out? Pick up your phone, talk to a friend, talk to your parents, and have really honest conversations around parents' expectations, around what they think you should be doing next or what your grade should be, because I think that can moderate and reduce some of that stress and pressure. I think it's really good what you bring up, because we do have that stereotypical idea of what a home environment looks like. So I think it's very important to emphasize that wherever you are as a parent, as a friend, as a relative, if you have somebody in your family or in your network who's currently in the process of writing their final exams, is to actually provide support. Be a listening ear. If they come to you and they just want to chat about what's happening, or they're not feeling particularly great that day, that's not the time where you stop and say, do you realize this is like finals and you need to be more serious? And, because then you're actually increasing, increasing the levels of stress. And I think for parents, what's really critical is to understand, where is your child at? So how do I support them if they need to actually take a break? Maybe they need to go to the movies one day, or maybe they need to just, nap during the day, whatever it is. Speak to them, have those honest conversations. And if you're a friend or if you're a next door neighbor, whatever it may be, try not to make everything about getting these final matric results, because that makes it absolutely, I think, nerve-wracking for students. I think it's really important that you are bringing up suicide, because we actually do find that when people are going through life events that are actually quite significant or important, so like writing your matric exams, getting the results, experiencing a death in the family, anything like that, that can actually trigger a lot of emotions for individuals that then could lead to them either going into depression or perhaps even thinking of committing suicide and having suicidal thoughts. So I think it's really important, even just as yourself, as somebody who's going through this process right now, to think about what are my main stresses and to play out what happens if I pass, what happens if I fail. Because that actually then prepares you for both scenarios, so that even if it goes, let's say, to the worst and you do fail, what does that mean? Do I have to repeat the year? Do I have to improve my marks? Having all of that information might actually help you respond a little bit better. But I think it is important that when you do realize that you are having suicidal thoughts, so you're hopeless, you don't feel like participating in your own life, and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you're consistently in not a positive mood, and I think then it will be important to then reach out to somebody. And there's a number of mental health services that you can reach out to online, over the phone, as well as then maybe going to an actual counselor and speaking to somebody, because that would be absolutely critical. And I think that's why we have to invest in actually changing that narrative, so that people do understand that it absolutely is normal for me to go through this, because all of us are going through different challenges in our lives, and that does affect our mental health.